Hello YouTube, and welcome back to Brewing with Magic. Well, if you're a subscriber to the channel, then you already know that aggro is my favorite archetype in the game, and in my opinion, in the current standard, this is the fastest, strongest version of aggro there is. But before we get into that, if you'll do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, it is fast, free, and it would mean the world to me. Also, by the end of the video, do me a favor and please comment and rate the video. So let's get into it. What do we got for you today? It is Boros Burn, and there's actually no real white cards in it, just gold cards. And they work perfectly in this deck. So we have 4 copies of Falcon Wrath Pitfighter. Don't forget that if you have your opponent down to 2 or 1 life, and even if this is the only vampire on board, if you've swung and hit them, you probably want to sack this, discard the card, and draw 2 to find a burn to finish off your opponent, because as we're going to go over in a second, we have plenty of that. Then we have 4 copies of Bloodthirsty Adversary. Works absolutely amazing in this deck. You're going to be able to cast this, and even if you can't attack with it, you can close games out by throwing this creature. Then we have 4 copies of Cemetery Gatekeeper. It is a new card, so I will read it, even though you've probably already seen it. 1 red, 1 colorless, for a creature vampire at 2/1 with first strike. That's pretty important. When Cemetery Gatekeeper enters the battlefield, exile a card from a graveyard. Whenever a player plays a land or casts a spell, if it shares a card type with the exiled card, Cemetery Gatekeeper deals 2 damage to that player. So, I mean, you're going to hit your opponent and chip away with little damage here and there that is going to make sure that you're going to close out games fast with this, and they're going to target the removal with it too. People do not like this creature. It's one of those. And then we have 3 copies of Rem, Carolus Stewart Slayer. Yeah, you know that was tough for me if you're a subscriber to the channel. That was a tongue twister almost. And it doesn't get a lot of play, so I am going to read it real quick. 1 white, 1 red, 1 colorless for a legendary creature human knight at 2/3, flying in haste. If a spell would deal damage to you or another permanent you control, prevent that damage. That's kind of nice, but the main one we want is if a spell would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage +1. It really ramps up all of our spells in our deck. Which ones am I talking about? Let's get into that. We have 4 copies of the new Play with Fire, so if that's out, we're doing 3 damage instead of 2. I'm not going to do that with everyone, but you get the point. For 1 mana, we're doing 3 damage. It's a big deal. Then we have 4 copies of Spikefield Hazard. We never really want to play this as a land unless it's in our opening hand and we only have like 2 lands. We'll probably play it turn 1 just to get the game going. We do only have 21 lands in the deck. With these is 25, so we would prefer to, poke our opponent for 1 with these, or a creature if need be. We have 3 copies of Royal Eruption. Does good damage as sorcery speed, unfortunately, but we'll take it because it can go to the opponent's face. 4 copies of Sacred Fire. Really strong card in this deck. Really strong, especially against other aggro decks. Gaining that 2 life is big. And then we have 2 copies of Magic Missile, another one that I love, especially when you get your opponent low and they're playing blue and they're thinking, okay, I'm going to protect myself if I get too low on life. You hit them from 5 to 3, you fire this off. No counterspell, not happening. Our draw cards are 2 copies of the new Reckless Impulse, 1 red, 1 colorless for a sorcery. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. Even if they're land, it says play, not cast, so that's really nice. And then we have 4 copies of Showdown on the Scalds. And then we have 4 copies of Showdown of the Scalds. I mean, this deck, you lose your hand so fast, so this just refills your hand, so, kind of refills your hand, you know what I mean. But it gives you 4 fresh cards to play with over 2 turns. Very strong in this deck. And then at the top end, we have 1 Chandra Dressed to Kill, 2 red and a colorless for a starting 3 loyalty planeswalker. +1, add 1 red. Chandra Dressed to Kill does 1 damage to up to 1 target player or planeswalker, so we can just poke our opponent every single turn and get a little bit of extra red. Or, really strong feature, what we like in this deck is +1, exile the top card of your library. If it is red, you may cast it this turn. We're probably doing that one most of the time, unless we need that mana for ramping. And then we're not going to be doing this a lot, but I'll read it. -7, exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may cast red spells from among them this turn. You get an emblem with whenever you cast a red spell. This emblem does X damage to any target, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. So she is really helpful in the deck if you can get her down and stick, but we don't need a whole lot. It's a nice card if you get it, but it's not required for any kind of super strategy to the deck. Then we have 3 planes, 3 Den of the Bugbears, helps us get around board wipes, and it's a mana sink, plus that little 1/1 token really helps out to swing wide sometimes and get that last point of damage in that you need. 7 mountains, 4 of the pathways, and 4 of the new slow lands. So that is the deck. make sure you stick around till the end for the summary. Before we get into the gameplay, one of the games I do make a mistake where I cast the Bloodthirsty Adversary. I get a little excited, and I cast it without having the extra 3. I should have waited a turn, and I left it in as opposed to finding new gameplay because of the fact that I wanted you to see that your opponent can build up this big board state, and you can still win the game without having to deal with all of that. You just go straight to their face. So I hope you enjoy the gameplay, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it now. Ishres Galaza. Hello, opponent. Well, we go first. That's a lot of land for a burn deck. 2 Royal Eruption, Sacred Fire, and a Showdown of Skulls. No creatures. I'm going to keep it. I don't like mulliganing into worse hands. See what we can do. Another land is not the play. Seems ridiculous, but I'm just going to shoot my opponent in the face for 3 and pass the turn. Just try to get a little value out of that land. Here comes their creatures. Cramp. We net lost. Oh. This is sad face. Let's do it again. Cram session. Like, we're playing a burn deck. They pulled off a cram session on us. That gains life too. What is going on here? Cemetery Gatekeeper is the play. Let's go ahead and get that Gatekeeper out so the Showdown of Skulls has something to do. Let's get rid of their... If I play a sorcery, though, what do we got? Sorcery, sorcery. I guess we've kind of played ours. Let's go ahead and crack that. Now that they use that, they're done. Let's go ahead and end the turn holding up the Showdown, or the Sacred Fire. If they cast this, they gain life, but then lose it right back. Enchantment's fine. Nothing we can do about that. They get themselves a 5th land for their hand. It doesn't ramp. Lots of black, making me a little nervous. We want to get all of our points here, especially against a non-creature deck, it looks like. Let's go ahead and throw this out. I want to go with the Chandra, but I also want to go with the Showdown. Let's see. Let's do Showdown right now. See what we get. Cool. Let's swing first. Nothing there. We're going to lose this either way. And they could have a board wipe. If they have a board wipe, I think I'd rather shoot them with the Spikefield Hazard this turn, play this land, Showdown next turn, and that way we guarantee ourselves a creature. So let's just end the turn there. Because if they have to board wipe for 1 creature, that's not good for them. Okay, so they gain 2 life, actually. Total. Another sorcery. Okay. Now they lose another 2 life. Let's see. Let's go ahead and lose 2 life. Or no, it's an instant, not a sorcery. Let's shoot one of the 1/1s. Get through those. That is perfect. So now I can throw land on red. We have white already. I think the play is to throw another Showdown of the Skulls, triggering, putting that there. We play the Pit Fighter that's going to go bye-bye in just a second. We get another token there. And then let's go ahead and shoot that for 2, because we get way more points doing it this way. More points of damage in. And then we swing in for 5, and we force a board wipe. If they're playing it. There's a Professor Onyx. Well, if they minus, we kill her. Okay, so that was an expensive card removal for them.
Anyway.
So we want to... This is any target. We want to play with fire the Professor just to get it out of the way. Plus, it puts tokens on this, like a lot of tokens.
So much for a new start.
What do we do here? We throw... I think this is game over. We Falcon Wraith Pit Fighter that. Throw that out. Let's throw this out on white. Let's go ahead and throw out the Chandra Dress to Kill. Put the counters here. It is game over. Let's go ahead and Sacred Fire our opponent for 2.
I've never
Put
crashed
the
a
counters
wedding like
on
this
here.
before.
Comboing off. Woo! Tormez. Hello. We go first. Sorry. We have 3 lands, a Reckless Impulse, Royal Eruption, Magic Missile, and Showdown of the Skulls. Not bad. Missing creatures in the beginning once again. We'll lead with the Den of the Bugbear. We can go ahead and put this on white, and on turn 3 we'll have access to 2 white, 2 red. I don't believe we ever really need double white unless we're casting 2 spells in 1 turn, but might as well. Like I said, let's... Yeah, it doesn't matter. We don't need to do anything crazy this turn. I don't think we need to use that right now, or that. I think we just pop off the Royal Eruption. It kind of gives away our game plan to our opponent, probably, but that way we're not just wasting mana on that turn. Okay, so we are playing black-white as far as what we can see from our opponent at the moment. We put down the Sundown Pass, and... I can't do a whole lot. I think I'm just going to keep my plan going. Oops. Of using all of our mana and just burning our opponent down. I mean, we can't do anything else right now, so... What's our opponent's turn 3 play? Nothing? Okay. Hey, it's a turn 4 land. I think we save Showdown for a turn, maybe? And do Reckless? Nah, let's do Showdown. Just don't be more than 1 land. That way, or I guess we'll miss drawing a land that way, but I want to be able to play my 1 land next turn. There's, well. At this point, I guess it's better than, like I said, drawing that other land. I really don't want to draw any more lands this game. And not getting a creature there was a little unfortunate, especially with a backup Showdown. Legion Angels to play. Okay. Problem is that Jess keeps getting Angels. Okay, so let's throw out the pass. Put out the Falcon Rift Pit Fighter. We're okay now with these Angels because this is going to get bigger. So we'll Magic Missile that for 3. Submit 1. Put a token there. And this isn't just on our turn, right? Yeah, this turn. So we want to use this now. Play with fire. I'm definitely going to keep that on top. Eat that creature. So I can cast this and this. Okay, they got the flunk. That's fine. They can't cast the angel now, and we're a burn deck. So let's go ahead and throw the Cemetery Gatekeeper. Let's eat that angel. They probably have another removal. Let's eat the... I feel like instant might be the better thing to do if they're gonna have a bunch of removal, but I'm gonna grab the angel. We want to do this now because that way our mana's untapped for next turn. Plus we get the token there. I already knew that was going to happen. Once again, we are a burn deck. Ooh, that's big stuff. Let's play the land now, and we can hold on to that. They do seem to have a lot of removal. Okay, here comes the Legion Angel. Card in the Foretell. That's not what you want to see. I'm going to hold on to that. Another one of those, eh? Let's go ahead and throw out Rem. Let's go ahead and Sacred Fire the Legion Angel. Because the 2 damage to their face or 2 damage with this, either way, it equals out the same thing. Swing in and pass it back. I'm sure they have removal. Like, their whole deck seems like it's removal so far, and then they just happen to hit a Legion Angel. Okay. Okay. These things didn't have vigilance, I wouldn't mind as much. So let's end the turn. And see what we can do here. I'm going to be firing this off, excuse me, at the end of their turn. I'm just trying to not lose my 2-3 right now. We're trying to race them. They're speeding up real quick. So, at the moment I'm taking this hit, no blocks. This turn. Okay, we're gonna fire this off at our opponent. 7. Oh. Let's do that. Let's throw out the Bloodthirsty. Oops, that was a mistake. Oh, I messed up. Oh. I got too excited. Soul Shatter. It's fine, we have this. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. Well, we can't block that. We know that. Land is the play. So I throw this. God, the Den of the Bugbear would have won if I hadn't messed that up. Next turn is looking better for us than this turn. Ah! Ah! The deck is good enough. The deck is good enough. Okay, yeah, I wish I could just do it. Oh, hey. Hey. So, that's game over. I think. We'll see. Now, I normally would keep playing to find a better game where I didn't make that big, huge mistake there, but I think I'm going to keep this one in just to showcase how much the deck doesn't... Look how big the opponent's board is. They're about to kill all of our creatures. We're about to lose... well, I don't think we're going to lose it now, but they've already declared blockers, so we can go ahead and just pop that off now. I will keep that on top. And then just win the game. Okay, Brew Crew, that is going to do it for Boros Burn. And if I'm going to pick up an aggro deck anymore this season, I'm picking this one up, at least at the moment, because it's been beating everything I've been playing against, and I am having a blast with it. It's so up my alley. Changes really quick. There are none for me, but I will tell you that if I was going to change anything, I would probably take the Chandra out and add in either another Magic Missile, Royal Eruption, or the Reckless Impulse. This is legendary, so I want to keep that at 3. I'm going to keep her in. I really like her when you hit her. It is fun to play with planeswalkers, so that's the other reason. But if you just don't like that or you don't want to craft her, then, you know, don't. Let's go over what I think you should or shouldn't craft. I think Falconrith Pitfighter goes in a lot of really good decks, and I think it is a safe craft, but it is mainly for aggro decks, so if you don't play a lot of those, don't go and waste your wild cards there, probably. Bloodthirsty Adversary, I think, is seen play in quite a few decks. It is, you know, a mythic wild card, so it's a little expensive, but I think they're amazingly strong. I mean, even in, like, Izzet decks and stuff that I have seen, it's a really good card, so I think it's okay to craft if you have plenty of wild cards. Cemetery Gatekeeper is another one that seems super, super strong, and I don't think there's anything wrong with crafting it. Once again, you're going to have to want to be more of an aggro player. This isn't probably going in a whole lot of decks. Rem, I probably wouldn't craft unless you're going to be playing a deck like this. It just doesn't go in a whole lot of shells, so keep that one in mind when it comes to that. And as far as, what else do we got here? Showdown of the Skalds, I've played in many a decks. I think that's a perfectly fine craft. Chandra, that's kind of why I was talking about her before I started getting into what to and not craft. I wouldn't craft this right now. I don't think she's that strong, but if you have one, player. And then if you're subscribed to the channel, you already know this, but I think lands are always safe, so craft away on the Den of the Bugbears, the Pathways, and the Slowlands. So I really hope you enjoyed today's deck. If you did, please leave me a comment and rate the video. We get 1 point for each, but if you do both, we get 4 points. So please, I really appreciate it if you would do that. Also, subscribe to the channel. It is fast, free, and it really does mean the world to me. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know whenever we have new content come out. And as always, until next time, have a blast in the arena.